welcome to Thronecast, and thank you especially. I just want to start by thanking you especially for travelling from the frozen north.
The absolute frozen north. It's a great place to be here, Geoff, don't worry.
Is it Withenshaw?
It's Withenshaw, yeah.
You are looking at karaoke champion from the Wendover pub in Withenshaw, 1996.
Well, you're looking at the same title for this year.
Congratulations!
I'm only joking.
Oh,
No.
I thought I was passing the baton on across the years.
No, I don't do karaoke.
Do you not?
No, I do sing, but can't sing.
Right,
which is the wrong way around to do it.
No, I think it's the right way around to do it.
Oh, right.
I think enthusiasm over technique is always my strategy.
Yeah, mine too.
Always go for the bronze.
Always go for the bronze.
It's a good motto for life. So, how did you first get involved in Game of Thrones? What's your story?
It was my first audition out of drama school.
Where did you go to drama school?
In Manchester.
And how did you find out about it?
About the audition?
Yeah.
It was the first. I signed with my agent, and she phoned me up and said there's this really big thing that's going to happen, and there's a part in it who's kind of fat. You know.
Although you are a lot more slender in real life than you are on the programme, so they must really pad you up on there.
Yeah, they do a little bit. But also, you've caught me right in the middle of my rest period where I try and calm down a little bit and go to the gym and.
So do you eat a lot of pizza for the show then? What's your technique for getting into Sam size?
I just steadily build back up.
Right.
Because I think that if I did nothing and was just inactive, I'll probably put weight on. And north of the wall, you're not going to be putting much weight on, you know?
True.
So just to try and stay at an even keel, I have to try and lose a bit, then put it back on.
So have you got a lot of elasticated trousers then?
They're not elasticated, they're just massive.
Like Slimmer of the Year.
Like Slimmer of the Year trousers, yeah.
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 So the audition then?
Yeah.
So what did you have to do?
We did the scene where Sam is on top of the wall with John, explaining to John about the life story and what his father's done to him and why he's there, which it was nice to do because it's Sam's pivotal scene, I think. It's when the audience reaction turns from just confusion and frustration into actually starting to like him.
Yeah.
So that's...
And did you do anything for the audition? Natalia Tenner told us that she smeared dirt on her face and went in like a wildling.
I didn't have to do any of that, no. Luckily enough, I was filthy already. Well, as a matter of fact, when I went in, I was actually late that day. Because I was rehearsing my final end of year show for drama school, and I had to ask the director to let me out. I said, please let me out, but if I could go and do this audition, and he said yes. And then, because the trains were cancelled, I had to go from Sheffield and then down to London, so I was about 20 minutes late. But they were still there and waiting, so everybody was being nice that day.
Did you think you'd blown it?
I was worried, because I'd never been in an audition situation before, really, like that. And I was worried how people would react and how nice people would be. But it was Frank, the producer, and DB Vice.
Yep. And when you left, did you think, oh, maybe I got that?
I tried not to really think about it. I just tried to get on with the show that I had to do and get marked on and think, it's not going to be for a while. So I'll do the show, and then I'll try and think about it afterwards.
And where were you when you found out?
I was in Manchester in the pouring rain. And funnily enough, my agent had rang me earlier that day and said, there's this tiny thing. It's like a little part, like a radio panel show or something.
Yeah.
And it's absolutely tiny. And do you want to do it? I went, yeah, I'll do it. And then she phones me back a couple of hours later and said, you've got it. I went, all right, okay.
A bit overexcited for a radio panel
show. Yeah, I went, all right,
yeah.
okay, calm down. You know. And she said, no, you've got Game of Thrones. I went, oh, wow. Can we fit the radio thing in? Probably not.
And did you know about Game of Thrones before you were involved with it?
I didn't know about the books at all, no. It's never really been my kind of avenue, fantasy, until now. Until I found out through Game of Thrones that fantasy can be rooted in reality and about people and about relationships and things. It's not just about
It's funny, isn't it? A lot of people just sort of write it off as this weird world, but when you start watching it and start reading the books, you discover something else in there.
That's true. One thing that's that I imagine must annoy some fans of the books especially, is when people come on and say, oh yeah, a Game of Thrones and fantasy is the last thing that it's about, and it's not really about fantasy. Fantasy is just a backdrop, blah blah. But if you like fantasy, then it's fantasy.
Yeah.
You can't just discount it as something else, because if you like fantasy, it's like we're almost, because it's HBO and they've never done a fantasy before, it's like taking people a long time to get out of the fact that it is a fantasy, and they're trying to justify it through...
Like apologising
for it, yeah.
Yep. Have you met George R.R. Martin?
Yeah, I've met him twice. He came to the set in Belfast in season 1. And it's weird when you meet him, because you've been acting out his world for a couple of months. And then you meet him, and it's also meeting the guy who's in charge of your career for the next few years.
He also said to me, I asked him which character is him in book form.
Yeah.
He said, I'd like to think it's Tyrion, but it's probably more likely to be Sam. That's a good thing to hear, isn't it?
It's a nice thing to hear, yeah. He's presumably, mind you, not really, because if he's saying that, it means that he'd rather be like Tyrion. So he might do away with Sam just to exercise that ghost a little bit. But he might have him die in a heroic way,
Maybe
fighting
so.
off, you know.
You should ask him to give you some scenes in better weather, because so far you've been in Belfast where it's really damp,
Yeah.
and then you're in frozen wastes of Iceland.
That's
beyond
right,
the
yeah.
wall. How was Iceland, by the way?
Oh, it was amazing. It was genuinely amazing for so many reasons.
No trees grow taller than me.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that in all the books? Is that a stat?
Yeah, no trees.
Any taller than Geoff Lloyd?
No taller than minor radio DJ Geoff Lloyd. That's in all the guidebooks. And the Icelandic people are quite nuts. They like a drink, don't they?
They love a drink. But we were out in the kind of frozen wastes. We were nowhere near a city. So we were just staying in this kind of cabin lodge hotel.
Huddled together for warmth.
Huddled around me for warmth. Yeah, it was really good. But the good thing about the visual motifs of the show is that all the stuff with Daenerys and all the stuff with Jon and Winterfell and King's Landing, they could be separate shows because they look so different.
Yeah.
So you can guarantee if it looks nice, I'm not going to pop up anytime soon.
Makes it easy for us as the viewer as well. There's so many characters. We can tell what's going on by the weather.
Yeah.
If you can't remember all the faces.
That's a good way of doing it, yeah.
Tell me about like your relationship with Kit Harington in real life.
I don't really want to talk about him. No, he's one of the nicest men I've ever met.
Do you think Sam is a little bit in love, in a bromance way, with Jon Snow?
Yeah, I think so. I think that. Well, I think to Sam, Jon is absolutely everything that he's needed in his life up to that point, and that he's not had. He's a big brother that likes him. I know that Sam has got a brother.
Yeah.
But the brother is on the dad side of things, and Sam's left all on his own. So Jon is a brother, he's a mother, he's a father, he's a confidant.
And maybe a lover. Who knows what would happen on that wall? It's very lonely. You take that vow of chastity, and he put in a storm and all that.
I tried to wheedle it out of George. George, is there any chance that me and Kit could... No, funny enough, it's funny how you can never be too sure of anything. Once me and Kit were having a drink, and it was when we were coming to the end of the shoot for season 1.
Yeah.
And he was just joking and went, yeah, see, the thing is, I've only been your friend just to be friends in the show. I just think it would have helped. That's why I just did it for work. And I started laughing and I went, yeah.
Meanwhile, you were died a little bit on the inside.
I was just going to thump him.
And in terms of love interest, like we saw Sam get a little bit familiar with Craster's daughter, the child of incest.
Yeah.
Do you think that there would be any more of that?
I just want to pull you up on one point, talking about me and Kit. And you said, speaking of love interest.
Yeah, I think so.
What was the question again?
Craster's daughter, the incest child.
Yeah.
Do you think anything might happen there? We're all rooting for you.
That's very nice of you. Thanks very much.
We want you to widen her gene pool.
Just dilute it down a bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Where are all these, Craster says, where are all these kids coming from that look like the Haribo kid? They're Sam's.
What else do I have to ask you? Oh, so again, we're coming back to that relationship with Jon Snow.
Yeah.
Do you think Sam might get a bit jealous when he finds out about Ygritte then?
I think he'd be furious.
Really?
Genuinely.
He'll throw a hissy fit.
Well, just the fact that Jon was pontificating about how important it is to stick to your vows and stay away from girls and don't even talk to her and how dare you do this, that and the other. And then he's off huddling up in the snow with
I'm feeling your jealousy as you're telling me about this.
with a lovely bit of flame-headed stuff.
Is she local? Do you know her?
Rose?
Yeah.
She's local to somewhere.
Oh, right, not to you, though.
No,
she's not down the Wendover doing the karaoke.
I think she's Scottish.
She hides it well.
She hides it, as you would. No, she hides it very, very well. She's. I've only met her twice. I wasn't there in Iceland while she was there, but she's the sweetest. And I've not seen. I wasn't privy to any of that Kit and Rose stuff in Iceland, so seeing it all for the first time now, it's beautiful stuff, I think.
And who are like your best mates on set? Would it be Kit, or are there other people?
It would be Kit, but it's anybody who's there. Everybody is an absolute delight. When I come to London, I try and meet up with Kit and usually Alfie Allen as well, and Gemma Whelan and a few others.
And I don't know much about you. Like, so I've done my research, I've been on the internet, but it's almost like you've erased your identity, like you're trying to keep something secret.
I'm in the Men in Black.
What other projects have you got on the go? Are you secret ones?
Well, everything's just kind of up in the air at the moment. Everything has to revolve around Game of Thrones. And I was talking to Mark Addy not so long ago, who was King Robert and stuff. And he said, are you planning on doing anything else this year? I said, well, it's mainly only Game of Thrones this year. But if it's only Game of Thrones, it's not a bad year. And if it's only Game of Thrones, it's not a bad career.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. And what months will you be filming from till?
I've not got my schedule through yet, but I presume we're going to go to Iceland when it gets cold again.
So it means you won't be able to do a panto?
It means I won't be able to do it. I'll Skype a panto performance through from Iceland.
John, thanks so much for coming and talking to me.
Geoff, thank you very much. It's my pleasure, man.